welcome back. I'm just finishing up a little paperwork. 1 second. Yes. Welcome back to Stein. I feel that it was easier to find this time. Excellent. Well, it's good to see you. I won't say I've missed you because I don't know you well enough, and I'm not sure that I like you yet. Now, I have something to discuss with you, something of great import. I have been in Tragerstein for an age. I stepped out to go to one of your Walmarts, and I came back in debt with COVID and questioning my sexuality. What are you people doing out there? It's a madhouse. I rather like it here with my lotions and potions. Now, it's all right, because old Vatundi is on the mend. And, as far as I know, I'm still straight. But there's always tomorrow. Now, let's get started on spells. That is your lesson for the day. Have a seat. Excellent. Now, what is a spell? If you have watched my short, it sums it up, but it's a short, so we're going to do a long. That's what this is. Some people call them the shorts, by the way. I like to call it. This one's long. This one's very long. Probably the best magic video you're ever going to see, probably in your entire life, by the way. I couldn't help it. Sorry. Now, let's get into the long version of spells. Now, when someone says, sit with me for a spell, it does not refer to the amount of time you are sitting. It refers to the words that are being spoken. Did you know that? Now, that's where we get the term spelling, to spell a word. You know, spelling bee, spell with me, smell my knees, whatever. I'm sure it all works. Now, spelling. To sit and cast a spell is something that you have been doing your entire life, and you had no idea you were even doing it, and we are going to fix that for you today. And we will start with a little bit of the Bible. Yes, the holy text. God himself calls him by a name, which I rather like. Do you know what it is? Hum the Jeopardy song in your head. I am. Moses says, who shall I tell them sent me? And God, the name he chooses for himself is I am. Those are powerful, powerful words. And how dare we cast a spell on ourselves to be broke, to be obese, to be unhealthy? How dare we? I am fat. I am broke. I am no good. I am sad. I am doomed to be alone forever. I'm doomed to this misery. You're casting spells, and you don't even know it. When people ask me, how are you? I say, tall, handsome, and successful, which is pretty obvious based on everything that you can see here. Because those are the things that I am, and that is how I am. Now, if you were to ask me, how are you doing? Or how is your Thursday going? Then that's a different question altogether. And I can answer it appropriately. Well, Thursday's going pretty fucking terribly. Whatever, you know? Or it's going great. It's going fantastically. But that's not the question. In this country, in America, we say, how are you? How are you doing? What's up? No, I guess what's up falls into the other category. But when someone asks you, this is your first task. When someone says, how are you? I want you to have a response that is ready, that is literally automated, and it won't be automated the first time. Take a look at yourself and say 3 things about yourself, either that you are on the cusp of, or things that you want to be, or things that you actually are. How are you? Fit and ready. How are you? Tall and handsome. How are you? Short, stocky, and filthy rich. Whatever the things are, you have to search that out for you. And the first time you say it, you're going to feel like a damn fool. And that's okay. You can feel like a damn fool. But soon, and before you know it, and over text, over personal conversations, of course, you want to keep, if you are in business, you want to be professional, of course. But with your coworkers, how are you today? Tall, handsome, and successful. How are you? That's casting spells. There are, excuse me, there are other videos, lots of them, places you can go, I beg your pardon, to get exact spells to do exact things, and we will get into those. This lesson is the concept of spells, so that you can begin casting from your heart. What we have a tendency to do is to go find a book or get involved in magic in some way, and then we find a book of spells and we do the thing that the spell says, and then it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because we're reading it like the instructions of a new phone. We don't have our heart in it. We don't have our soul in it. We certainly don't have our mind. We think it should work because this is the formula to make it work. But that's not what a spell is. A spell is reaching inside of you and drawing what is inside out and giving it to the goddess Cosmos and letting Autumn handle it as he will, and the many gods and goddesses and angels and demons and entities and wood sprites and nymphs and domptes and anybody you want to deal with. But you have to put it out there. One rule: never use a spell to harm someone. And much like Autumn gives us rules so that we don't hurt ourselves, I am giving you this rule, my love, so that you don't hurt yourself. Dark magic, a bit of a fad. But casting spells to harm others is a bad idea. It is like, well, it's like playing with fireworks. You might get a good show, or you might lose your fucking arm. It's up to you. It can go bad real quick. And unless you think that you are a magical match for old Vatundi, I say just stay away from the stuff altogether. What did Christ teach us? To pray for our enemies, right? Not to pray to harm them. That's for our own good, right? If we pray, which is a form of casting a spell, and I know Bibles are being thrown and phones are being thrown in the garbage right now. I'll tell you what, if you decide you want to whip a Bible my way, I'll put it in my collection of different translations, and I'll read it in my spare time. Thank you. He tells us, Yeshua tells us, to pray for our enemies, because if we cast spells on them for goodness, and we pray for them to change and to find the right path and to be better people, then we don't have enemies anymore, do we? The perfect situation is not to have enemies, not to defeat them, not to have them. Very different. That's the ego talking. Different topic. I'll try to stay on topic, but you know how I love to ramble. When you cast a spell, you're putting yourself out there. And I don't mean that you are sitting on your couch and you're going tacos, 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 and then tacos will show up. That's not what I mean. You have to feed the energy into yourself and into the world around you and into your reality to make these things occur, just like you did with every problem you've ever had. Every time you've looked at your partner, every time you've gotten a text on your rectangle, and you say, you close the phone and you go, oh, I hate that bitch, or I hate him, oh, I hate when he talks to me that way. Why am I so stupid? Oh, you forgot the milk. Oh, why am I so stupid? You're casting a spell on yourself. You're taking those insides, those negative insides, and you're casting them into your own reality, and then you're wondering why you feel stupid, because you have cast a spell on yourself to be stupid. And that's stupid. So stop. Positivity, I am, is so powerful that God chose it as a name for himself. Now, if God chose it as a name for himself, it must have some great significance. And the words that we use when we say, well, let me give you an example. A young mother, an old mother, a mother, is walking with her child, and the child spots a toy, as they do. Mommy, mommy, can we get this? She's aware of their finances, and they absolutely cannot at this moment. Instead of saying, no, we can't afford it, we say, maybe next week. We say, let's figure out how we can put the money together. Maybe if you do some work for me, maybe we can raise a little money. There are any number of things you can say. I'm not talking about the action, the follow-up action. There are any number of things you can say rather than I cannot. Can't is a defeating word. And if you say can't, you have cast a spell of negativity crippling yourself in some way. Or someone else. Right? We're working on it. We're all a work in progress, even old Vatandi. We are all a work in progress. So we don't say can't. We take the T off of there, because you can. It's a question of how. And can't does not work. It is a defeating word. And I strongly suggest, if you would like to learn how to do strong magic, you get can't out of your vocabulary. Can't is what has held people back since the beginning of time. What about a different way of speaking? What about a different way of casting our spells out into the world? What if instead of saying you're broke, you say I'm going through a financial downturn? Or I'm working on my finances. No, let's go out to dinner. Actually, I won't, because I'm working on my finances right now. Both things, I can't go, and I won't because I'm working on my finances, mean the same thing. They mean you won't be going to dinner, and the money is not in the bank to support that dinner. One way declares that you are broke and it is over, and one way declares that you are taking positive action mentally and physically and spiritually to move in a better direction. And all you had to do was say something different. Right? We don't say can't. Unless it's, shellfish and you're allergic. Can't eat shellfish. But, No, I got myself with that one. No. Can't needs to be removed. Right? I can't lose any weight. You can. Someone says, how's the diet going? And you know the scale might have even gone up a pound or two. That's a fitness channel. You can look into that. Probably water weight. Don't worry about it. Now, when you look and someone says, oh, how's the diet going? Instead of saying, I can't lose any weight, you say, it's going a little slower than I expected. Because that's the truth. It's not that you can't lose weight. That's a lie. Truth is, it's going slower than you expected. That's an honest statement, and you keep going in the right direction. And I could give you 100 more instances, but get your head around the idea that can't does not exist. Can't is a defeating spell. Can't is a curse that you are putting on yourself. And then you wonder why you can't. Because you put a spell on you. Because you're yours. Positivity. No curses. Not to yourself and not to anyone else. I don't want any Mamba Jahamba. I don't want you running back here to Tragerstein and saying, Votandi, I'm in a mess and I need help. Of course I'll help. But still, I'd rather not be bothered with it. I have lots of this to do. Now, your assignment is to take something from inside you and put it on the outside of you. Don't be dirty. Take something that you want for your life and say it. Just say it. Say it to yourself and mean it. And I know that we are riding this cusp of being a motivational speech, but it's still spell. It's all what you say and the intent that you say it with. And when you master this concept, then you can do spells. Spells that are wonderful, magical, profitable, healthy, happy, enlightening spells. But if you don't have the concept down, they'll never work, and you'll be disappointed, and you will walk away from magic, and your spirit will not grow. You will not grow closer to Christ. You will not become powerful in magic. You will be exactly where you started, only you will have spent $80 on books that you will never read again. Do your best. Think your best. Those are spells. I'll tell you a little bit about hypnosis. I know that you can't stay for too long. Do you know anything about hypnosis? No, I thought not. Hypnosis is basically the ego and the subconscious. And the hypnotist tries to crack through the ego, to put the ego to sleep, to then get to the subconscious. And then once in the subconscious, he begins, or she, begins to repeat things at the subconscious mind. And these are things you have been hypnotizing yourself with forever. I have a terrible childhood. I have childhood trauma, and I can't get over it. I can't deal with it. I just can't. And you're feeding yourself the same negativity. So take the good stuff. Take your positivity and put it out there. Even if it's not true, what does the Bible tell us? Right? There's a lot of Bible in this one. What does the Bible tell us? The Bible tells us to speak of things that are not as if they were. That's why when people pray in churches, they say, thank you, Lord, for the healing. The person is not healed. The person is stone sick. But you speak as if these things were. You take the can't out of it. And I will tell you right now, my student and my love, never, knock a person for praying. Praying is really just a spell. People like to call it different things because it makes them feel better, but it is a spell. You're putting your intentions out there. And that's why prayer works. Because it's a spell. Now, of course, I'm not knocking anybody's faith. I'm not saying that if you're, that God does not exist and Christ does not exist, and if you're praying, you're just meditating and casting spells. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is that prayer is a form of spells. And there's no reason to knock somebody for praying to any God at all, ever. There's no reason for that. It's woven into the universe. What do people do when they get together and hold hands in a church or at a home or at a hospital and pray? They put their intentions out there. They put it out there for everyone to hear, and for themselves to hear, and for themselves to believe it. And so it is a spell, and that's why prayer works, because it's a spell. Now, I want you to start thinking positivity. Everything that you think, all of your problems have another way to say them, every single one. How's the divorce going? It's a lot harder than I thought it would be. Not terrible, because on the other side of that divorce, hopefully, or as I like to say, prayerfully, on the other side of that is something good. So it's not terrible. It's not inherently terrible. It's just harder than you thought it would be. How's the divorce going? It's harder than I thought it would be. How is having children, Todd? No, it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. It's not bad. Nothing is bad. And when you cast spells into the world, which we will talk about, we have a lot of practical magic spells to discuss, and we will go through the details. But it is so much more than a book you bought at Spencer's, or a couple of special candles that have a pentagram on them. It is from you in here. No books, no candles, no mystique. That's how you succeed at casting spells. So, you're going to work on your 3 positive things. And you are going to remember that God himself calls himself I am. And it is powerful. And do not forget it. There will be another lesson on spells, I believe, but our time here is about done. I see the tiredness in your eyes. And next time you stop by, we're going to talk about the language of spells and what it means. When you see in Harry Potter, who's the bad guy? Molly, Foley, Nick Foley, Voldemort. That's it. And he's that thing that he does. And the next one we will talk about why we use different language for spells and what that means. But for right now, I want you to get out of here and start thinking positively and casting positive spells all around you. Say positive things as much as you can. You will notice a change, and you will notice the power inside of you. When you start to realize that the entire world around you is changing because you have changed the spells that you put out into the world, you'll begin your journey into finding your own power. Let it bubble up. Let the goodness come out of you. Dark magic is advanced and dangerous. And we'll talk about it, of course, because I just gotta be me. So, until then, think with your mind, feel with your soul, and work